I knew my marriage was over the moment I saw his aunt using my wedding china. She was laughing in my living room. My living room. 6 of them. Shoes off. Television on. The smell of fried onions in a pan I hadn't touched. They looked up at me like I was late. Finally, his cousin said. We're starving. I smiled. It was the kind of smile you practice in mirrors when you're about to set something on fire. I placed my keys on the console table, walked past them, past my husband, who didn't even stand up. He just gave me that sheepish half grin. He uses when he knows he's crossed a line, but assumes I won't push back. I went to the bedroom, closed the door, and sat on the edge of the bed in complete silence. I had already eaten, and I was done feeding uninvited guests. When I met Armin, he admired my independence. That's what he said. He liked that I worked late, liked that I handled my own finances, liked that I didn't need rescuing. Back then, he used to bring me tea at midnight when I was studying for certifications. He would sit quietly and watch me work like I was something rare. He made me feel seen, and I made the mistake of thinking being seen meant being valued. The shift was subtle. First, his mother needed to stay for a few weeks. Then his cousin needed help getting back on his feet. Then the family dinners moved from occasional to assumed. They stopped asking. He stopped defending. I became the silent sponsor of a household that wasn't mine. The first time I protested, he laughed. They're family, he said. Don't be dramatic. Dramatic. That word stayed with me. The real betrayal wasn't the relatives. It was the bank notification. I was reviewing our joint account during lunch when I noticed a transfer, large, repeated, to his sister. I didn't confront him, not yet. I traced the pattern instead. 3 months. Quiet withdrawals. My bonuses, my savings, redirected. I pulled phone records next. Not because I suspected infidelity. Because money leaves trails. What I found was worse. Messages between him and his mother. She earns more. It's only fair she supports us. She won't leave. She's too practical. I read that line twice. Too practical. Not too loving. Not too loyal. Too practical. That's when something inside me cooled. Not shattered, cooled. Glass doesn't break when it's cold. It sharpens. I didn't argue. I didn't accuse. I adjusted. First, I separated my salary into a private account. Quietly, legally. Then I met a lawyer during my lunch breaks. A very patient woman who explained words like financial exploitation and marital asset protection without blinking. I documented everything. Transfers, messages, dates of occupancy for every relative who treated my home like a hostel. Then I waited. Patience is power when the other person thinks you're oblivious. At home, I stayed pleasant. I cooked, occasionally. I smiled, frequently. I let them grow comfortable. Comfort makes people careless. Which brings us back to tonight. 6 relatives, waiting for dinner. He didn't even warn me. That was the final insult. Not the invasion. The assumption. After 10 minutes in the bedroom, I heard him knock. Are you coming? He asked. His tone wasn't apologetic. It was annoyed. I opened the door slowly. I already ate, I said. The room fell quiet when I walked back into it. His aunt blinked. You ate? Yes. My husband frowned. You knew they were coming. No, I said evenly. You knew they were coming. I walked to the dining table and placed a slim brown envelope in front of him. His name was printed neatly on the front. He stared at it. What's this? Open it. Inside were copies. Bank statements highlighted in yellow. Printed screenshots of messages. And divorce papers. I watched his face drain in stages. Confusion. Recognition. Fear. You went through my phone? He whispered. No, I said calmly. I went through my bank. His cousin shifted uncomfortably. His mother looked at the documents upside down, as if orientation would change the outcome. You're overreacting, he said, louder now. It's just money. It was trust, I corrected. Silence again. I continued, my voice steady. The house is in my name. Purchased before marriage. The utilities are in my name. The mortgage is auto-deducted from my personal account. I let that settle. My lawyer has already filed. You have 30 days to vacate. His aunt gasped. You can't throw family out, she snapped. I looked at her. I'm not, I said. I'm divorcing one. He stood up then. Anger replacing panic. You're being cold. Yes, I agreed softly. I am. Because warmth had been mistaken for weakness. He tried one last angle. Where are we supposed to go? I picked up my keys. That's a practical problem, I said. I'm sure you'll figure it out. The same words his mother used about my salary. Too practical. An hour later, the house was loud with arguments. Not mine. I drove to a hotel I had already booked. A place with crisp sheets and silence. My phone buzzed repeatedly. I turned it face down. I didn't feel rage. I didn't feel heartbreak. I felt space. For the first time in years, I wasn't financing people who mistook access for entitlement. I wasn't feeding adults who believed my labor was communal property. I wasn't married to a man who thought I would never leave. They had counted on my practicality. They forgot practicality includes exit strategies. Tomorrow, I'll change the locks. Tonight, I'll sleep. And somewhere in that crowded house, my husband will finally understand something he never did while eating at my table. I was never the meal. I was the provider. And I just closed the kitchen,